So in this video, I want to talk about why we need art in the first place, right? There's a few reasons that I can think of. One is that art can re-enchant the world. So how did the world get disenchanted in the first place? Well, there was a philosopher by the name of Max Weber, writing in the 1900s, who spoke of the disenchantment of the world. Here's what he said. He said, "The fate of our times is characterized by rationalization and intellectualization, and above all, by the disenchantment of the world. Precisely the ultimate and most sublime values have retreated from public life, either into the transcendental realm of mystic life or into the brotherliness of direct and personal human relations." So what he was essentially saying was that the modern world, especially post-industrialization, has become disenchanted, and he doesn't, at least in this quote, go into all the reasons why, but a lot of it has to do with the rationalization and intellectualization of everything. So we've become all about our brain, and we try to just think through everything, problem solve, and we value people. We go to university, and we we value degrees. We value the intellectual life, but how much do we also value the aesthetic life and the embodied life, the somatic life, and also how has just valuing pure reason in a way separated us from those other sublime values that are more mystical, and how can we not just create a separation between the two, relegating the mystical to those to like Saint Teresa and other mystics, and then saying, okay, they can do that over there, and that's fine, but we're actually going to solve the problems of the world over here. Art stands in the gap between those two things. Now, Friedrich Schiller, he was a German poet, playwright, and philosopher, and he talked about the fragmentation that accompanies the specialization of knowledge and experience in modernity, that leads to an alienation from any sort of unifying principle or God. So, when we have, factories, and we have so many different, fields of knowledge. One example of this could be software development. I have nothing against software developers, but there are schools now where you can go just to learn software development or learn coding, or even specific niches within those things. So we've become more and more specialized. Think about a kicker on a football team, one of the highest paid jobs in the world. Specialization. Why is this a bad thing? Well, it can alienate us from each other and also alienate us from a unifying principle or God. Whether or not you want to call that God, I do, as I am a Christian. But you can think of just a unified principle to society in general. What are sort of underlying guides to what even motivates us to be as humans, and what do we share in common with others in that respect. Schiller actually found a solution to this problem in aesthetics, because he said, in the realm of aesthetics, a thing can relate to the totality of our various powers without being a specific object for any single one of them. So the art object, it appeals to our reason, appeals to our spirit, it appeals to our body, and in that way it integrates all of who we are. But it also wraps into it different ways of knowing. And in that sense, it counteracts the specialization of knowledge in modernity. And also by doing so, it thus opens us up to a spiritual reality by making us experience things differently. So, how does art relate to truth as well? Because, if we're many people say that we live in a post-truth society, which I somewhat agree with, in the sense that we've lost the value of truth. But William James, another philosopher, I'm just throwing these philosophers at you. I haven't read all of them myself, but I'm just pulling from them because I think their thoughts are really pertinent to today. But William James said that truths emerge from facts, but they dip forward into the facts again and add to them. These same facts again create or reveal new truth, and so on indefinitely. So he envisioned truth as kind of being, generative. It relies upon facts, it emerges from them, and then it dips back into those facts to create or reveal new truth, and so on and so forth. In that sense, you could kind of see this as truth evolving, but I think that truth is stable and is objective, and yet the way that we apprehended truth is fluid and always growing and changing. And so I do really resonate with this quote. I believe that artists, they take facts about the world and they produce embodied truths from them, which can then add to the facts, creating or revealing new truth and so on, in the way that James put forth. So artists, in a way, truth can exist in terms of concepts, which philosophers are very good at, but it can also exist in terms of embodied concepts, which is really what art is. It's sort of the union of idea and matter. So how can art do this? Well, one way that it does it is by questioning perception. So, perception can be either sensory or cognitive. We don't often think about perception because we just do it naturally all the time. But it actually involves a lot of ourself and our being, and is very cognitively challenging. And perception involves the way that we see, not just through our eyes, through eyesight, but the way that we, in a sort of metaphysical sense or metaphorical sense, that we grapple with the world around us. And so when we question perception, art can allow us to reevaluate our modes of interacting with the world and create the possibility of realities about the world that we were previously unaware of or not open to. So it opens us up. It opens us up to new ways of experiencing, to new ways of seeing, of interacting with the world. And hence it opens us up to the spiritual realm. I know not everybody believes in the spiritual realm, but whatever you want to call it, something beyond just pure matter. And then finally, art, by doing all of this, and in doing all of this, it makes things new. It makes things appear new. The poet Gerard Manley Hopkins, he wrote that there lives the deepest freshness, there lives the dearest freshness deep down things. And I think what he was talking about was that each thing, when you probe it, when you wrestle with it, when you question it, there is a freshness that you can extract in a way, or kind of tap into, and that freshness has to do with the very vitality, the very energy of life itself, and goes to the core of all of the most meaningful things that we value in life, including love. So this is the basis for also for wonder and curiosity, which again is the basis for circling back to our scientific advancements, and so we can't have that without curiosity. I think about Einstein. He said, he really valued imagination, and imagination is one of those things that allows you to perceive and to imagine the world differently. And that will give you new eyes, fresh eyes, to see everything fresh. Yourself, others, the world, God. So art does all of this, and it slows us down to contemplate things. And in doing this, also, it allows us to experience beauty. And again, who would not say that beauty is something of transcendence, and that we need that union of transcendence on the one hand and immanence on the other, that art is really perfect for creating. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. If you want to respond in the comments, or just give me a response. That would be excellent. I by no means have all the answers, and these are just thoughts that I have. But I really truly believe that art is super important for the welfare of humanity, and for the development of ourselves as whole beings in the world. That's all I have for now, and I'll see you guys next time.